In this video, I'll show you how to use Sora 2 API and the prompting tricks that work.
All right, I guess my job is done here. So yeah, that's exactly what we will do in this video. The new Sora 2 API with a GitHub repository with simple step-by-step code snippets that you can run to generate videos like you saw in this intro in just a few lines of Python. All right, so let's dive in. So we are going to start from the GitHub repository. This is in my AI cookbook and there's a new section, OpenAI, it's under models. Video, and this is where we get into the Sora 2 API. Link will be below for you to follow along. So I'm going to go over basic video generation, then image to video, the pro model, enhanced AI prompting, remixing videos, and multi-shot sequencing. So this is not just going to be a tutorial on, look, here's how you can use the API, because let's be honest, here are the docs, you can follow along with this and you'll be fine, right? No, this is more so to give you a full understanding as to what you can do with this and how you essentially can create pipelines around this API to really automate the process of video creation. It's going to be really exciting. All right, so I am here inside Cursor and we're going to walk through this step by step. So here in the video folder, you can see file 126. Also with a README file. Currently, we're in the number 1 in the quick start. We're going to start really simple. The goal for you is to have these snippets ready so that when you want to input something, you know where to start and how to start playing with this. So what you saw in the intro is that intro sequence. That is what we're going to create. So we're simply going to import OpenAI here, make sure that you have your API key exported or made available. And then all we need to do right now is we can use OpenAI.videos.create. And we can have a look in here to look at, okay, what actually can we add to the parameters in here? So if I click in here, we can here see the create function. We can see we have a prompt. We can specify an input reference, which we will cover later. Then we have the model, seconds. So how long is it? And we cannot, like right now, it should be 4, 8, or 12. So that's something to keep in mind. Then we have the video size. So this is going to be the aspect ratio. So do we want it to be in portrait or in landscape? And again, you can see the available formats over here. So you need to select those. So, all right, now let's go back to the video creation process over here. So I already just ran this code to kick things off. And you can see the video generation started. So I'm trying to recreate this setup, studio setup, microphone, talking about OpenAI in this new release of the Sora API. You can see I put in the size. So this is going to be in portrait mode. And then we have 4 seconds. Okay, so then what happens behind the scenes whenever you kick off a process like this, it's going to render the video. So it takes some time for the video to process, and depending on how long, the size, whether you use the Pro model, this is going to take some time. So what we can do is we can either just continue with this video ID that you see over here, and then later check the status. But I found when you are going back and forth between multiple videos, multiple files, it's also very handy to retrieve your video list. So you can actually do OpenAI, which is your client.videos.list, and you can see over here, you can see that you get a list of all the videos that are in there. And then if you look into the data that's in over there, so these are all the videos that I played with. So let's actually store this in our video list. So we have that ready to go. And then you can always check the last video status by taking this list and then taking the first element. So whenever you create a new video, this is just like added to the list, and the first element with 0 index becomes your last video. Does that make sense? I think so. So we can now check. So the video I submitted 1 or 2 minutes ago is now already completed, which is really good, which means we can now download it. So again, all of these little snippets over here are for you to reuse. So this is something I just copied from OpenAI. And this also gives you an insight into the progress. So right now the video is already done. Let's see. So now I should be able to download this fairly easy. There we go. Okay. So what happens? I've created this setup in such a way that we download it to the output folder. So you can see we write it to file output video D MP4. So now if I click in here, let's make sure you see all of this. Yes, there we go. We come in here. We now have this video.
Wait, did an AI just generate me to teach you about AI? That's pretty meta.
It is pretty meta. Where did that click come from? Okay, so now we have the following over here, which is really good. But now let me actually show you if I clear this up over here. what happens if I run the entire script, because then you can see the video status thing popping off. So we'll do it one more time. We'll run this, and there we go. Video generation started. I put in a little time.sleep because otherwise it will, the video is not in the list there yet. So I think, like, look, I think it goes too quick right now. I think we need more because now it just downloaded the same video. And I think if we do it right now, we should get the video status, which is still in progress. Yeah, there we go. There we go. Okay. So please be aware of that whenever you submit a job. It takes a couple of seconds before it shows up in your video list. And now we can keep track of this processing bar over here, which is simply done by going into this while loop. You can see, so every 2 seconds, it just pings the server and checks the progress. Got it. Okay, so now we're at 40% over here. So you can see this takes 1 or 2 minutes or so. So let's wait for this one to finish. There we go, 100%. And then in a bit, it will download the video and there we go. You saw that popping up. So now we have another video.
Wait, did an AI just generate me to teach you about AI? That's pretty
cool thing. We're already pretty close, right, to what we got going on over here with the background. Even like the mic thing and like how this whole thingy works. It's super cool. And remember, this is without a reference, right? This is just me saying, look, YouTuber, black t-shirt, studio setup with this mic. So cool where all this is going. Okay, so that's the very first thing that you need to know about working with the Sora API. This should already get you going. But now let's make things a little bit more interesting. Let's look at what happens when we add a reference. And a reference, let's see if I come in here. No, actually, it's in this guide. Let me scroll down a little bit for you to see where they explain this. You can use an image reference. So essentially what it then does, it takes the image that you provide as a reference as a starting point, and it will start to animate from there. But it will keep it exactly the same. It's very good at taking that environment and even the characters in there and then animating it. So that's what we're going to do right now. And one thing that you should what you should keep in mind, the reference image needs to be the exact same size and resolution as the video you are about to create. Otherwise, you will get an error. So let me show you what that looks like. So I'm going to continue running this over here on the side in the interactive Python session. By the way, if you want to know how I run Python like this, I get a lot of questions on every video. Check out the link in the description where I show you my VS Code cursor setup on how to do it. This is my favorite way to explore Python code. So not doing it in a terminal, but doing it like this. Okay, so let's play with the following file. So what I'm first going to do right now is, instead of taking any reference image, I'm going to create one using OpenAI again. So what you can see over here, this is the image API. So that could be a topic for another video. I'm not going to go into great detail as to what this is about. But we use GPT-5, we have an input. And then for the tools, I'm going to say, look, this is an image generation. All right, and it's completed. And what we simply ask here, professional studio desk setup, Shure SM7B, just the studio setup. No people in there right now. And one of the things that you can see, which I find a little bit annoying, I'm not sure why they've done that, is the sizing on the image generation is not exactly the same as for the video API. And it needs to be the same in order for it to work. So what I did is I created a simple little helper function that is over here in the utils. We have the resizer. And actually, I would be lying if I say that I made this. It was simply an AI prompt to help me with this. It's using the Pillow library. I have no idea how this works, but it works. It's a simple resizer. And what we can do with this is, if I now come in here and go to the reference and I run this, look, we can now take the image that was generated by GPT-5 in the following size, the following resolution, and it now outputs it in the exact same format and size that we need for Sora. So here you can see the 720 by 1080p. So now we have this beautiful studio setup over here, this microphone. So now we can come back to the reference file. So we exported the image. And what we can do right now is, now we can create another video, but we're going to use the image we just created as the reference. So here you can see again, OpenAI video create, model Sora 2. I just say, make this image come to life. And we reference the path to where the video is, and we use the ID. So let's now kick this off and run this. And why I'm using a simple prompt with a simple image over here is that I got hit with a lot of moderation errors. So of course, OpenAI has like heavy moderation on this video creation API. And I don't think I have to tell you why that is a good idea, but it's also a little bit annoying when you're trying to work with it for just like practical use case. So I've found that with the reference, whenever I showed an reference image with a person or just like anyone, it would block it. It would say, look, this is not allowed right now. It would work with animals and like anything else that did not contain a person. But other than that, it wouldn't work. And even when I said, look, take this image. So take this simple like studio image that we just created over here. So take this simple image and now add a person to it, like walking into the shot and started talking. Like even at that point, I found that I ran into limitations with moderation. So that's just something to keep in mind for now. It's a little bit annoying to work with. And right now you kind of like have to tweak it a little bit in order to make it work. So we now just started the video creation process over here with the reference. And now let's actually get the last video and see over here what we got going on. And now we can download the Sora video using a little simple helper function that I created. So this is also in the utils and downloader over here. So this just keeps looping over the video until it's ready, and then it will download it and put it into the output folder. Again, all very simple, quick functions created by AI to make this whole process of working with Sora easier when you're going back and forth. So we downloaded the video. So let's actually see how we made our studio come to life. Right, so let's have a look over here. Okay, so we have the exact same image that we started with, right? So the image that was created by GPT-5 and now it's animated. Let's see what's in here.
Testing. Levels are good. Let's get into it.
Awesome. Added a little test to it, little zoom, a little voiceover. And then real quick, if you're an AI builder and you like to tinker with these models, build AI applications and solutions, and you've been thinking about maybe selling those services, maybe start as a freelancer, work for clients, but you're not really sure where to start or how to find that first client, you might want to check out the first link in the description. There's a video of me where I explain exactly how I can help you with this. And we have helped hundreds of developers land their first freelance client and then scale from there. So if that sounds exciting to you, make sure to check it out. And now let's get back to the tutorial. All right, and then up next, here's a quick little demo of how to use the Sora Pro model, although this currently has some issues right now, and I am not the only one experiencing this. So if you go to the documentation, you can see, look, you can use Sora 2 and you can use Sora 2 Pro. What it simply means is you just change the model. Very easy. Everything else is just the same, but there is an issue right now, at least I am experiencing that. This will stay stuck forever. Like it will get to 100 in terms of progress, but it will still not complete. It will still say something like pending. And it's a little bit annoying because I believe you do get billed for this. And I found similar threads here online, video generation stuck in the in progress state. So this is a little bit annoying right now. Of course, this is brand new. Probably a lot of people are like using this API and they still have to figure out how to manage all of that. But as of right now, like I will not go through this, but just like hope they fix this in a couple of days. So then you can also use the Pro model, which is more expensive. It takes longer to create the videos, but you get pro quality, just better overall looking images. All right, then now let's get into the fourth file over here. That is Sora prompting, because beyond just saying, hey, create a mouse on a bicycle, you can actually like really steer this model, and it's really capable actually. So OpenAI released a Sora prompting guide, again, all in the GitHub repo, where you can see an entire article with all the best practice on, look, here's a starting point, but you can also go super ultra detailed. And then here's what that could look like. Literally down to what camera are we using, what lens is on there, where should the light come from, what do the characters look like, and these are visual cues how you can steer the look. So you can go really deep in this. And what I found is instead of every time, of course, manually writing these types of scripts and prompts, what you ideally want to do is when you, for example, want to create a narrative, is you want to have some kind of like a director. So in the utils, I made a simple example of what that could look like. So here's a class, it's the Sora director, and it has one function right now, and that is generate the Sora prompt. And in here, I have a Pixar prompt. So this is a prompt that you see over here in the prompt template. based on the prompting guidelines from OpenAI, plugged into AI, given to ChatGPT, and then instructed it to create a system prompt to create Pixar-like movies without mentioning Pixar, because otherwise you get the moderation again. So we describe what that looks like. So those are things and tricks to work around that. But this is just an example to see, look, if you want to keep a continuous visual style, create some kind of like director or script for that you can then easily use to, let's see, come over here. We go to the prompting. Let me show you what this does. So now we can simply say, look, we have a director. And now I say, I want to create a video of a YouTuber excitedly showing OpenAI's new Sora 2 API, hyper-realistic videos with just a few lines of code. But we now generate the Sora prompt. So we now give it to the director. And it doesn't really matter what we say or how vague we are. The director will take that input and it will create a prompt that aligns with his vision. And now you can have multiple side by side here, but this is going to save you a lot of time so that you don't always have to say like, look, use this camera, use this lighting, use this style, simplify that. So this takes a couple of seconds to run, and then it will print the prompt. So you can see a cheerful 3D cartoon YouTuber at a tidy desk presents, and then it explains everything that there is to it, the animation, the style, the materials. So what we can now then do in this video generation pipeline, we simply do what we already learned, and that is OpenAI Videos Create. We plug in Sora 2, and then we use our video downloader function to check the progress and download it. All right, at 100%, downloading the video, and there we go. Is this the last one? Look, there. Now we have our YouTuber over here. OpenAI Sora 2 API. Okay, let's see what this is about.
Check this out. Sora 2 API. Hit generate. Boom.
That's so cool, right? Okay, it was cut off because the prompt was actually a little bit too long for the 4 seconds. But we have our Pixar style animation right now. All right, and then another important topic to cover is remixing completed videos. So you can take an original video, like you see over here, then feed it into Sora and give it a prompt to adjust it. Here you can see prompt, change the color of the monster to orange. Same video, but it will be a different outcome. And the way you do this is you reference previous videos that you generated with Sora. So right now, I believe you don't have the option to plug in your own videos. That should all be done like through the reference. This is just a remix of what's already created. So this is a way to make adjustments to what's created. And the way this works right now and how I want to showcase this is I want to walk you through 3 shots. So I want to create the opening sequence that you saw in the beginning of this video, right? We have 3 shots, and it's essentially going to be a hook and intro for a YouTube video. And we want to try and maintain character consistency throughout all of these shots. So it's not perfect yet, and I feel like this is just like a prompting issue, and maybe I just don't know how to do it. But this is how you could do it, and this is how you can automate entire narrative storylines, ad creatives, or intros for videos on social media, YouTube. So I feel like this is going to be really cool. And this is what I wanted to show you and what I wanted to work towards. So it's not just an isolated example of, look, we can call the API. So let's run this and see what is happening behind the scenes. So first of all, we have a character description over here. We have a simple programmer over here wearing a black t-shirt. That's going to be the character. And then here we have a little storyline. So shot 1, 2, 3. And now this will take some time to render. So while this is running in the background, let me quickly walk you through what we do over here. So we create all of the storylines, and then we output them in a sequence folder over here, so that every time we run this, we don't overwrite the previous files. So we get shot 1, and then here's where the remixing is happening. So this is simple, right? We already saw how to create a video. But look, now when we get to number 2, we do OpenAI.videos.remix. And then we plug in a previous video ID, which in this case is the video ID from the previous video that was generated. And then we plug in a prompt. So that kicks off another process, another batch to render the video. And what we do in the prompt right now is, look, we say, look, here's the video. So it's the video ID, and we say the same man walking through a hallway, and then essentially we create a new story. And what I've found is this may not be the best use case of this, because if you look at what OpenAI is doing here, it is essentially keeping the environment and it's keeping the scene and making tiny adjustments. But I wanted to try and keep the same character, but move it into different environments. And it's working, but it's not perfect, as you'll find. So it's probably just a prompting issue, or maybe the API and the technology is not there yet to create entire narratives right now with this. But let's have a look at the outputs. So we come over here, we generate all of the shots, and then here you can see I did a couple of trial runs already. So this is what's working right now. So here's the sequences. So here, for example, this is one iteration.
So OpenAI just casually dropped the Sora 2 API at 2 a.m. and I've been up all night because this is insane.
Okay, a little cutoff at the end, but this is cool. This is an opening shot. He's excited. And then shot 2. So it should be the same character now walking through a hallway.
You can now generate hyper-realistic videos with literally 10 lines of Python. B-roll? Done. Product demos? Easy. This changes.
Again, a little cutoff, and it's definitely not the same guy, but it's somewhat same hoodie, similar kind of vibe. And then here in the studio, number 3, it's definitely another guy. The hoodie is somewhat similar.
In this video, I'm going to show you exactly how to use the Sora 2 API.
Perfect. But we got the shots, right? We can see this all coming together. We can piece this together. So I ran a couple of iterations, and here in the second one, I also made the dialogue a little bit shorter because it would cut off, because essentially the text was too long to fit into 8 seconds. And then next, so while this is still running, one other cool trick that I wanted to show you is that if you don't want to take your videos and put it into some kind of editor, I have a simple Python script over here that will literally stitch the videos together for you. So you can take any sequence of shots and it will output an entire video for you. And we're doing this with FFmpeg, so make sure it's installed on your system. So that's what you need. This is not a must, but you can actually edit videos with Python using FFmpeg. It's super cool. So what you can then see over here is here we just look into the output sequences, and it's a simple little script to take the last one. Then we find the shots, and then we loop over it, and we use FFmpeg with these commands over here that I don't fully understand. This is just AI saying to me, look, here's how you edit videos together using FFmpeg. All right, let's run it. And then the output, let's go over here. You can see we have shot 1, 2, 3, and we have a sequence. So now if you look at this,
OpenAI just dropped Sora 2 API at 2 a.m. I've been up all night. This is insane.
Generate videos with 10 lines of Python. B-roll? Done.
Cool, right? So now you can see the video is a total of 24 seconds long. Everything stitched together, and the edit is seamless.
Product demos? Easy. Quick close. In this video, I'll show you how to use Sora 2 API and the prompting tricks that work.
We got a little bit of a strong accent all of a sudden. So like I've said, the character consistency is definitely not there yet. I haven't fully cracked how to fix that. But this is already a loop that you can use. And this is going to unlock so many possibilities right now, because the concepts that I've just shared with you, simple things like how do we create videos, how do we use a pro model, then how do we prompt it, how do we remix it, and how do we create sequences, is literally the future of how you can generate like full narratives, ad creatives, VSLs, intros for videos, entire videos using AI and using the power of programming with just a few lines of Python. So if you want to play around with the Sora 2 API, make sure to clone this repository and play around with the files in here. This took me a couple of hours to set up and to test everything. So hopefully you can get up and running in minutes and see whether you can use this, how you can use it, and whether it fits into your current workflow and what kind of applications you can potentially build with this. All right, and if there's something I missed in this API or got wrong, please let me know down in the comments. This is all very new and we're all trying to figure out how this works, right? And then if you found this video helpful, please leave a like and also consider subscribing. And then what I will do next is over here on the screen, I will show a video that I think you will like. So if you want to continue learning, go watch this video next.